I'm now talking to the director of the DNR, Keith Creagh. Keith, welcome to the show.
Tim, thanks for having me.
All right, well, welcome. You're the new director here, and I know that you have a background of being out there and hunting and fishing. Tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, Tim, actually, I tell people that when I graduated from college, my dream job would have been working for the Department of Natural Resources. So I've really come full circle. I spent a career at the Michigan Department of Agriculture. I actually grew up hunting and fishing. I did the Boy Scout stuff. I didn't do FFA. Ended up being Eagle Scout. I've been hunting since I've been 10. My dad still's alive. We still go to deer camp, and we have a lot of fun at it.
All right, so what is, some people are going to say, well, he's an ag guy. So what's an ag guy doing running the DNR, and what are some of the plans here?
Well, it's really all about land management and landscape management. And so when I was at ag, we actually we interfaced with DNR quite a bit, right? Whether it was TB and deer, whether it's pheasant restoration, whether it's environmental practices. So if you talk about maintaining the land, it doesn't matter if it's state land or private land. It's really a lot of the same issues.
Mm-hmm. Do you have some short-term goals or long-term? What's your plan?
Well, actually, it's a great agency. We got great professionals, and there's a couple of things that we need to do. We need to pay attention to the 4.6 million acres we own. Mm-hmm. Governor asked an easy question. Is that the right number of acres to own? What's the purpose of it, not just the quantity? So we'll do a comprehensive land use plan with our stakeholders and see if we can get that right. Two is we need to have outstanding customer service. You know, the antlerless permits crashed the other day because of technology. That's not acceptable. We need to work on our technology. We need to work on customer service. Three is we got to look at our funding streams. For too long, the sportsmen and women of this state have really bared the brunt of all the natural resources issues. So we need to broaden that a little bit, and we'll work with our friends in the legislature and our stakeholders to do that. And then last is, because of our outstanding staff locally, we can do a little better job making local decisions. You know, it takes a long time to push paper up into Lansing and get it back. And so if you trust your employees, you'll get good decisions.
And it seems like in all the interviews that we've done, you know, you've got good people out in the field that their whole concern is about, you know, managing the resources that are out there.
Right. We have passionate, knowledgeable individuals. And as I've traveled around the state, and I've been in UP, I've been to Southeast Michigan, and so I've been out a lot in my first 10 weeks. And everyone has the same statements. They'd like to have their local DNR person involved, but they're not real happy with the DNR at time.
Right.
And that's really more process than product. So we'll see if we can't get it right.
Well, don't you think that comes from people, you know, that have grown up like yourself, hunting and fishing, and they have a strong opinion about how they want to see things managed, and that's kind of where the deer advisory groups come in, so reaching out to the hunters out there?
Oh, absolutely. We have great stakeholders. They're very passionate about what they do, and they're knowledgeable about the resource, so we need to engage them fully as we move ahead. However, I'd like to suggest that we need to speak with one voice. And because of the variations in the resource, we have a lot of different voices. And so we could be more successful by speaking with one voice. And so we'll try to do that. But I did meet with the Conservation Coalition, and we'll work on that message.
Would you say that the biggest significant challenge would be funding, or are there other issues?
Actually, good program, good policy funding follows that. So we've had it backwards. We've been asking for potentially some funding changes without necessarily being very articulate with what that will accomplish. As the governor talks about regional economies, what better than natural resources to drive regional economies, whether it's hunting, fishing, tourism, recreation, land-based industries, forestry, mining, oil and gas. I mean, the Department of Natural Resources plays a crucial and fundamental role, especially in the rural areas, to keeping towns alive. And so let's figure out how we can drive those regional economies in a sustainable, thoughtful manner, and let's be at the table.
In the meantime, you know, the push is, even if you don't hunt or fish, go out and buy a license, because that helps fund things.
Well, I'd go one step further. Buy a passport. So the Rec Passport's a great program. It's $10 when you renew your license. Get a recreation passport, whether you're going to use a state access site or not. Whether you kayak, whether you hike, whether you're watching birds, or whether you're hunting and fishing. If you get a recreation passport, that helps this department tremendously.
And finally, communicating with the hunters out there. I know that you guys are doing a lot with, you know, your websites and, you know, getting the information out. Are there other issues that, other ways that you're doing that too?
Well, we're going to partner with people like the Buck Poll to make sure we tell first a true and accurate story. But second is, my kids, they all have iPhones. And when you're in an area, you like to click on that icon, and you'd like to know where are the boat launches, Where are the wineries? Where are the cross-country ski trails? Where are the access points? And oh, by the way, where's that good grouse habitat that we can go out now go hunting since it's after the 15th, right?
That's exactly right. That is right. Now, one final.
No, I don't want to give away your secrets.
One final thing on this before we go. So you grew up hunting and fishing. You said you still go to deer camp. So do you get out into the woods as often as you'd like?
No. No one ever does, but that's also part of it. It's good to leave the woods wanting to go back, isn't it?
Yes, it
and
is.
so part of it is I do try to get out as much as I can. This job actually, though, you're a little bit busier. So during hunting season, sometimes you're visiting hunting camps instead of visiting your blind. So we'll try to balance that.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us here today.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Director of the DNR, Keith Creagh, has been our guest. That's your DNR update. I'm Tim Hart, and you're watching the Q1 Buck Poll.